He's like, wow, look at the advertising that's showing up when I go onto the Military Times. The responses from his colleagues and peers were like, I don't know if you knew this, but that's a Google ad. Do you see this little thing right here? That's a Google ad. So that means it's based on your search history, the things that you look for on a like the more things or the more times that you look for things, the more times you search specifically for specific keywords, it's going to cater your advertising experience to that. So it's time, everybody, to learn about Benny Johnson. Benny versus gay. It's a battle that all of us have to face at some point or another when we ask ourselves, are we or are we not gay? Well, maybe some people have to ask themselves that. I certainly did at one point or another. Have you ever reflected upon that in your life? Were you going through life? I'm guessing the majority of you, statistically, just based on demographics, are going to be heterosexual. Not completely heterosexual, though. We learned through all these studies that no one's completely heterosexual or completely homosexual, that it's actually a spectrum. Every kind of lands somewhere. And we're not saying that, like, you know, you might want to go and just join up with the boys, circle up, and start jerking off. I'm just saying that some people will find themselves perhaps being like, well, yes, I would not want to have a sexual encounter with the man, but I can appreciate the male form. That's a handsome dude over there, all the way over to, well, yes, I would like to and only engage with sexually with the male form, the handsome dude over there. That's the only thing that I desire. Everyone arriving somewhere in between on average. There are, of course, pure heterosexuals, super straights, as you may have heard of them, so straight that they're incredibly, it's like you can see the line, right? There is no tilt, nothing. They're straight as they get. And then, of course, there are the super gays, those who are so gay that they're extreme gay, yes, and they only go for the gayest of gay, yes. And so then everyone else can find themselves, like myself, you know, somewhere in between. Maybe I'm a 2, maybe I'm a 2.5, who knows? The Kinsey scale is not an exact science. But then we have Benny Johnson. So Benny Johnson mocks Karine Jean-Pierre for being openly gay.
Remember, 7 ways to Sunday at Getting Back at You. Chuck Schumer said
it. Said it, right? I knew it. I knew it was going to happen.
Remember, 7 ways to Sunday. Remember, 7 ways to Sunday at Getting Back at You. Chuck Schumer said it about Donald Trump, and we have posited here on this show many times. What if the same people that hate Trump hate Joe Biden just as much? Start thinking geometrically. Somebody who can't think even linearly in 2 dimensions, not 3 or 4 dimensions, is Karine Jean-Pierre, who's having to field an absolute barrage of hellfire missiles on this question yesterday. Hair on fire. Karine Jean-Pierre says Biden still intends to run for president after the FBI raided his home, gets grilled, and was surprised that more documents were found.
Trump's still running for president, right? That's still happening?
Ladies and gentlemen, the best question of the day, without any reservation, is Peter Ducey saying, which 4-letter word did you shout when you found out that there would be more documents found after the FBI raided Joe Biden's home? Absolute thing of beauty. Watch Karine Jean-Pierre's hair ignite in fire.
When you found out.
Jesus Christ, what is this fucking horror shit? Yes, that's the haunted doll that's in the set. You don't get to see the doll, but it's always there. Always watching.
That the FBI had located even more classified materials in Wilmington. Which 4-letter word did you use?
Oh my goodness, Peter.
Can't say.
She laughed. It's not a real laugh. Not a real laugh. It's like the Joker. Okay, it's like a Heath Ledger laugh. That.
Wait, but dude, your cringe sound effect alert. Can we play that one more time? That's the Joker. That's a Joker laugh. That's you, isn't it? That's your own fucking sound effect.
Fire.
That's what?
To run, I'm going to be very careful. what the president's going to focus on. He's going to focus on he intends to run. I'm going to be very careful from here, as you know, because we are covered by the Hatch Act, and I'm not going to speak further to his process.
Is there a precedent for people running for president after FBI agents search their sock drawer?
Say that one more time. Say that beginning part.
Is there a precedent for people running for president after FBI
It sounds like
agents?
It sounds like you already know that the answer to that question. Look, here's what
I don't know the answer to that question. An FBI search of a president's residence is a big deal.
Here's what the president's going to focus on. He's going to focus on continuing to deliver for the American people. That's his focus. That's what he focuses on every day. That's what he's been focusing on the last 2 years. And
I can't stand like just the whole song and dance that's done by press secretaries every single time.
And nothing is going to change that. You think about the bipartisan infrastructure legislation, you think about the Inflation Reduction Act, you think about the Chips and Science Act, the bipartisan one, the last two that I mentioned, done in a bipartisan way. That's what the president wants to do. He wants to continue to deliver on his economic plan that is going to build the economy from the bottom up, middle out.
So Joe Biden is in a very rarefied era in history, being the first president to be officially investigated by federal authorities whilst his son is investigated at the same time. Why is he running for president again, Karine? You know, it's because of the bisexual agreements that he's made with, bipartisan.
So if you're not familiar with Benny, right now you might be a little confused. You might be kind of like, what's going on, Lance? Why are we entertaining this? What's going on here? Explain yourself. And okay, I'll give you a little bit of a background. Benny Johnson is basically an example of someone who originally was trying really hard to break it into the scene, you know, trying to get in there, and was working for BuzzFeed News. Now, while working for BuzzFeed News, obviously, he was the target of a lot of right-wing conservative outlets, such as, you know, the Daily Wire. Now, the Daily Wire puts out an article about how there's this progressive liberal who apparently didn't know this when they tweeted this out, but this is pretty intense. Benny Johnson tweets out, "The advertising on the Military Times right now." So this is here, something about delays for new transgender policy. And whoa, the world's largest gay cruise. Hello, get on board. All right, boys, where are we going? That doesn't matter. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. Yep. And the orgies, obviously. So this one looks like a fun time. Now, obviously, he's like, wow, look at the advertising that's showing up when I go onto the Military Times. The responses from his colleagues and peers were like, I don't know if you knew this, but that's a Google ad. Do you see this little thing right here? That's a Google ad. So that means it's based on your search history, the things that you look for on a like the more things or the more times that you look for things, the more times you search specifically for specific keywords, it's going to cater your advertising experience to that. So if you've been looking up boat rides to different destinations a lot, specific kinds of rides and specific kinds of boats, then that's what will appear in your Google ads. In fact, you'd probably have to be searching for it with such frequency that you've been doing it for multiple days in a row for it to be that targeted specifically to you. And then you took a screenshot of it and then you posted it, and now you're discovering how the whole thing works. And so that was like a thing. Benny Johnson, subsequently, I completely had forgotten about. I think most people had until a couple of years ago. Turning Point USA comes, and then boom, there's this dude at the very start who is just nuclear levels of cringe. Who's just like, who's ready for the memes? Who's ready for memes? And we're like, oh, that's pretty funny. That dude's really fucking cringe. That's sad. Hey, it's Turning Point USA. What do you expect, right? This is the toilet paper fucking hour. And then that's Benny Johnson. And then you're like, whoa, that's Benny Johnson? Wait, Benny Johnson is a massive ass conservative figure now? Not only is he a massive ass conservative figure, he's a homophobe, apparently. This whole article is about how Benny Johnson mocks Karine Jean-Pierre for being openly gay. So, Joe Biden is in a very rarefied era in history, being the first president to be officially investigated by federal authorities whilst his son is investigating. When you're watching this, okay? And I say this as someone who's occasionally a fan of the man cock. I'm just going to say, like, his delivery and cadence does seem to be kind of gay.
In a very rarefied era in history, being the first president to be officially investigated by federal authorities whilst his son is investigated at the same time. Why is he running for president again, Karine? You know, it's because of the bisexual agreements that he's made with, by parties. And hey, Karine, is this a cover-up? Is this actually a cover-up? Clearly it is. Watch the meltdown. Remember.
And, you know, the thing with the right is that there's often times where you might find yourself in a position, like, you know, watching that, I was like, oh, God, like, no, Joe Biden is not dedicated solely and exclusively to serving the American people. This is all just like a complete press release lie, but it's very typical. This is why I don't like like I said, I just don't like the song and dance of the entire, you know, the press corps showing up to be able to be told all the talking points kind of shit. Never have. But then you've got the right coming at it being like, well, so this is, wait, you're going after this because it's a gay thing? Wait, that's the angle here? And by the way, Benny, like, this whole thing is so sad. I really feel like, you know, back in the day, this was the old Benny Johnson. Chelsea Manning picked a fight with Ben Shapiro, gets predictably wrecked into next, oh, sorry, this is the new one. This is the new Benny Johnson. Predictably wrecked into next week. Like, he didn't have to be like this. You went down this pathway because it got you the monies, it got you the clicks and the cash and the payday. But like, if this is where your heart lies and this is where you want to be, I think you should just live your truth. You'll be happier. There'll be more joy in your life. You know, you don't have to do this. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K, Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demmel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tal, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.